All right, John, thanks for agreeing to do this interview, man. I'm excited. Um,
Absolutely.
Jumping into it, why don't you can you say a little bit about yourself and some of your achievements, kind of who you are to start?
Cool. Yeah, so I was in software engineering for 14 years in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, and I loved it, but I realized I wanted to be more in the community and have more flexibility to spend time with my family. I've got 4 kids. My wife and I have been married almost 19 years now. So I was looking for a change. And so it was hard to jump into real estate, but it's been very rewarding and wonderful and hard and required a ton of personal growth. I'm kind of an entrepreneur at heart. So I've loved owning and growing a small business. And in 2018, I was able to start a small team. And so I have a part-time licensed transaction coordinator that works with me and one other agent that works part-time with me. And I'm starting to mentor another guy. So I've got a small team and I'm really looking to grow as a leader and help others be successful because it's so hard to get started in real estate. Like I had some great mentors and some good training, but it's just hard to get started in real estate. So I've had some great success over the last 5 years, but I felt like I was kind of plateauing and growing slowly. But in talking with several other people that are successful realtors and even just other business owners, the theme of having a business coach kept coming up multiple times. Even one of my cousins is a business coach, and she said it will revolutionize your business. And she said you have to look at it not as an expense, but as an investment in yourself. And she said that to me like early 2020, and I was kind of thinking of that all year. And so then when you and I met and did the 1 week challenge in December, the timing was just right. Coming into 2021, wanted to hit the ground running, and so yeah, I was excited about that. Really wanted to be able to take my business to the next level. And even while I've been able to be successful as a personal realtor, like to help a team grow, I need to have some different and additional skills in helping lead others as well as running my own business. And so I've just needed some outside help. And so that's how working with you has just been transformational over the last month and a half or so.
Amazing, man. That's a great story. So just to kind of grab the details here, successful as an engineer, software engineer, 14 years was great. You wanted to step into something with more ability to be involved in the community and lead. You did, you got into real estate, which is super tough gig. A lot of people get into real estate and they don't quite make it or they
Yeah.
quit. You're essentially owning your own business, like you're running your own business, but you did really well in real estate and you've been in it now 5.5 years, things going really well. And you want now, or this little bit, you've been focused on how can I be a better leader? How can I lead a team better? And you have a team and you want to grow that team and increase your impact that way. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, with the pandemic, it's been hard, but just from a revenue perspective, made almost as much in 2020 as I did in 2019. And so I'm very thankful for that. I know there's a lot of people that can't say that. So I'm very thankful and blessed. At the same time, living only on commissions, there's still a lot of ups and downs. And so I've wanted to have a better system for lead generation and networking. And I'm much more of a, uh, like I much prefer to do business through relationships rather than cold calling and stuff like that. Like I'm always willing to work with new friends or customers or clients, but also in 2018 I was able to stop advertising with one of the big real estate advertising companies and really just focus on growing my business through referrals and repeat business. And that's such a more enjoyable way of doing business. But there's ups and downs. You know, some months would have 3 or 4, maybe 5 closings, and then others one. And so I wanted to have a little bit more consistency. And so, so focus on the team and leadership and being able to help other people succeed their first year in business. That's one of my goals. By being able to provide some of the systems, like with having the transaction coordinator and being able to provide some of the like personal training and mentoring I can provide, plus what my brokerage EXP Realty can provide. So then in addition to that, though, as far as networking, I really wanted to focus. I purchased a program called Parkbench.com, phenomenal business. And actually the CEO of that is introduced me to you, which is how we met last year. And so I love the way that it's built on genuinely building relationships and encouraging small business owners, organization leaders, nonprofits, people in the community by doing interviews of them and promoting their businesses in a really like hyper local focused platform. And so then it's not like, hey, do you want to be on my real estate platform? It's no, hey, can I promote you and your business? And yes, I do real estate. And if we get business out of it, great. But I genuinely just want to encourage small business leaders. But that required like doing video interviews, which was scary. I mean, I'm an outgoing person and extrovert, and I love networking, but doing something new and different like that was scary. So I spent thousands of dollars back in November, and I took some of the training, but I just, as a perfectionist and a procrastinator, I couldn't get over actually just starting and doing it and asking business owners who, I know a good number of them and meet others, like of actually just asking them, hey, would you be willing to like do an interview with me where I can help promote your business and it's free? And so I wasn't getting started. And so one of my main goals in working with you was whatever changes in thinking or attitudes or habits that I needed to be able to do something new and grow, I was looking for. So yeah.
Amazing. So so you sign up with this company, Parkbench. Yeah, Grant's an awesome guy, and you invested this money. You want to make good on that money. It's about relationships. You love making relationships. You're a people person. And despite all that, though, like to make videos and put these videos out was something that you were struggling to actually do. You wanted to be perfect. And so
Yeah.
that block mentally of perfectionism was leading you to procrastinate. And so here you've invested this money, you know you're committed, you really want to do it, but for some reason your actions just aren't translating into you actually making the most of it. And also you've at the back of your mind, like you've talked to a lot of other successful realtors and business owners, they all have coaches. So you're like open to the idea, and then, okay, and then we meet. So that's the problem you want solved. You could stop being a perfectionist, take more action, get these interviews undergoing, and then to take that to help you lead a team better. This is all to help you lead a team and give back more, which you're totally all about. So then, okay, let's fast forward to when we're going to start working together. Like, were there any hesitations, or like what were you hoping to get out of the relationship, and what did you think might be, what were some of your hesitations, if you had any?
I don't know. I think both the time commitment is one. Like I need accountability, like you and I have talked about oftentimes. Like when I make a commitment to a client or a family member or friend or anybody else, like to meet with them, like I'll be there. I'll put it on my calendar and I'll be there. If I tell them I'm going to get something done, I'll stay up late to do it. But when it's something I'm doing for myself, or that's important but not urgent, with something working on my business and not in it, I don't prioritize those things. I just fill up my day busyness of handling transactions. But I also realized if I did that it was going to require taking the time to meet with you and then follow through on it. So I knew it was going to be a commitment of time and energy. But at the same time, I was like, I want this, I want to grow. And so to get something different, I've got to do something different. And so accountability was a key thing. There's the cost also, which is real. But at the same time, I was thinking, my cousin's in the back of my head saying it's an investment, not an expense. And it really is. And I know that the long-term changes in thinking and patterns and habits are going to be way more beneficial than the cost of it right now. So it really is an investment. So you invest in a business and advertising or anything else, and this is an investment in growing your own abilities and leadership. And so the other thing was, I just really felt like we connected back in December when we met. And so that was huge to me, because I've met some other business coaches, and who knows, I might work with them in the future. But I felt like I needed somebody that I could just really be real and genuine with. And so I've enjoyed the personal aspects of our conversations, because then it helps me, like when I feel like I know you and you know me, you're able to see me not just as like a project, but as a person, and vice versa. And then so I can take input from you, because I've heard like the things you've grown through. And so I've just really appreciated that aspect of it. Yeah.
Amazing, man. It's been so much fun.
I agree.
Yeah, it's been so much fun. So, okay, so let's go now into, when we actually, the work that we've done together. So we've been working together for 5 weeks now. So we're almost halfway through the first segment here. what has it been like working together, and like what are some of the initial returns you've seen on your investment so far? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say some of the specifics, like the spreadsheet that you put together in the Google Doc that we look at each week, that it helps me stay focused and reflect on like what are some of the top priorities for this coming week, and then what are some of the wins from the previous week, and then making adjustments. And so not being like hard on myself, like when I don't do something, but like, well, what was it that kept me from doing it? So, and you're great at asking questions and let me lead it, but you ask questions that help me think about like, well, why didn't you do that? You said it was one of your top like 2 priorities last week and you didn't do it. So it's not that you were lazy. It's like, what was going on in your thinking or in your week or whatever, that kept you from doing that? And so then when you help me break it down into smaller pieces, like specifically with the interviews, like, well, is if the first step is like to ask somebody to invite them to do an interview, like, could you just do that? And then you'll figure out the steps for doing it later. But what about just sending out the invitation? And again, kind of the accountability. So if I just send the invitation, even if I don't have all the right video editing, or I don't have the right tripod or all this stuff, like if I just ask somebody and I schedule time to meet with them, then I'll figure out the rest. And so by you helping me break it down into that small first step of not having to have like the full-blown process figured out, just ask somebody to do an interview. So, a couple weeks ago, like that was one of my priorities. I asked 2 people, had 2 interviews. And then, so like we were talking about, so I showed up, and then I invited my nephew, who's really good at videography, to help me. So I was delegating a piece of it. So, one of the things that you've helped me with is removing the barriers to progress, or the barriers to entry. So especially when it's something new, and as a perfectionist, when I want to like be perfect at something, and so I just don't take any action, you've helped me see like what is like one step that you can take towards it, and you can call that a win. And if you just do that this next week, great, that's a win. Then you can kind of take it to the next level, the next step, the next week. And so breaking it down like that has been hugely helpful in starting something new. And so that idea of like reducing the barriers, and just like what's like the one first step that you can take towards it. And we often talk about like working out or going for a run. So like having like just getting your sweatpants and your jacket on in the morning. Like maybe I'm not gonna go for a full 2-mile run, but I'm gonna get dressed and I'm gonna get the dog's leash on and I'm gonna step outside. And if I just walk down to the end of the block and back, that's a win because I got outside and did it. But normally when I get to the end of the block, I'm like, well, I'm already here, I'm dressed, the dog's on the leash, it's cold, but I'm doing it. Then I'm gonna go for a run. And so that analogy is perfect for so many things in life. But like just take the first step, get started. And also don't beat yourself up if some days you just walk to the end of the block and back because of how your emotional or mental space is, or physically how you're feeling, or you've got a ton of business that you have to get done, or whatever it is. But just, yeah, reducing the barriers and then just taking it one step at a time. The accountability. So all of it together has just been huge. And so, yeah, got my first interview published a week and a half ago. It went out in the newsletter. I've got, you're helping me think through like the systems to get in place so that I just, take a little bit at a time, so that I'm not staying up till midnight Sunday night to get it ready to go out in the newsletter at 8 a.m. Monday morning. So some things like that, but I did it. Oh, the other key thing was you helping me realize it's about like specifically in this area, but it's relevant to a lot of areas in life where you want to be consistent. So the idea is to be prolific or consistent rather than perfect. Because if you seek to be perfect, then you're never going to get started. But if you just seek to do it, so again, the analogy of doing the pottery. And so there was the teacher that was powerful. Like what you said was that teacher that had been teaching pottery, and he had always had his class like work on one piece and making it perfect over the whole course of the semester. And one time he had the idea to break up his class and have half of them do what they had always been doing, make one perfect piece over the whole course of the semester. And that was how they were going to be graded. And the other half of the class was they were just going to crank out as much pottery as possible. And so they had to do, I think, like one piece each week. And so they were graded on being prolific and not on the quality of it. So they didn't have to worry about that. And what's interesting is at the end of the semester, the ones that had been focused on being prolific and just practicing and doing more, their pieces at the end ended up being way better than the other half of the class that just focused on the one. And that concept is so powerful. And so, yeah, it's pottery, but it applies to so many areas in life. Like just get started, just start doing it, and then you'll get momentum. And the other thing is at the beginning, like with interviews or whatever else, it might have a smaller database getting my newsletter to begin with, but it's okay. So they're not going to be seeing the crummy interviews at the beginning. So it builds some momentum and you get better and you learn. But then beyond that, it's the focus of it isn't to do perfect interviews, even like this one here. It's about genuinely connecting with people. And in my case, like encouraging these small business owners and being able to help promote them and find out their wins, but also any challenges they're having. So it's really more about the relationship. So also keeping the focus where the focus should be. It's not to do a perfect interview or a perfect video. It's to connect with people and then to get that out there and be consistent. So I rattled off a lot of things, but those are just a lot of the learnings that you've shared with me that have really been huge, like some life hacks, actually.
That's amazing, man. Yeah. And sometimes it happens on the interviews. We're not trying to be perfect. We go where the moment takes us. And
Yep.
I'll apply a little bit more guidance. So kind of, you talked about how the coaching is, and you talked about some of the things that you got out of us working together already.
Mhm.
I guess to sum it all up, actually, what, just in terms of life, like outside of just like specifically the business, just like you as a person, how do you feel you have changed over these last few weeks? Like if you were to summarize in like a couple sentences, what changes have you undergone as a person over these last few weeks and us working together?
That's a good question. I think one thing, and it's not like this just started with you, but you've helped reinforce it, is the importance of, while I'm focusing on growing in my business, like I am a father and have 4 kids, and my oldest is going to turn 18 this year. We've only got another year and a half with him before he's done with high school. And so realizing that um, like being balanced is important. And so part of one of my main goals and priorities is as a family man and a husband and father and friend. And so like business is a piece of it, but I'm not going to sacrifice the relationships and the people in my life right now just to grow a business. Like it's got to be balanced. And so like being holistic and looking at like your business goals are one thing, but like family and personal goals are important also. And so like how we talk about like how you're often encouraging me with like the personal wins or the time I'm spending with my family. So it's helped me like realize the importance of living life right now. Like, yes, I'm looking to grow a business, but I'm living an amazing life right now, like 4 amazing kids at home, challenges like any parent or family has, but like genuinely enjoying quality time with them. So that's been huge. And so I appreciate how you've reinforced that my goals really are like we often like you focus on growing a business or making money so that you can enjoy the time with the people you love. But if you're doing that and not enjoying the time with the people you love, then it doesn't matter. And so again, kind of the idea of like you can like gain the whole world, but what does it profit you? So you're helping me like reinforce the importance of being balanced and focused on the things that are truly important has been beneficial. And so I've had conversations with my wife and good friends and other people and been able to say, yeah, there's been business wins, but there's also been huge like family and just personal wins. So I think you're helping reinforce that has been key as well. So thank you.
Amazing, man. It's been my pleasure. And as far as in terms of like just tangibles, so to kind of sum up like where you started and where you're at now, like why is it worth the investment like that? Thousands of dollars. Why is that worth it? Why is that a good investment for you? Why is that, what's happened / is happening really that makes you feel like this actually is a good return on my investment?
Yeah. So partly it's like with Parkbench, I spent thousands of dollars on this platform and it's an area I genuinely wanted to grow in, but I had all these hesitations to get over it. So being able to move forward with that, I think is going to be something that I'm going to carry with me through the rest of my business career. But like getting going, I wasn't doing. And so I've made the investment of the time and the money in working with you. And now I'm going. So I've got some momentum. So I'm going to be able to keep going after, like if I stop working with or paying you, at the end of our 3 months, I'm still going to be able to have that momentum and the growth and the learnings and be able to carry that into the rest of my life and apply those like the life hacks and the other learnings in other areas. And so like stuff that you've shared with me, I often share it with my wife or good friends just because it's so applicable. So the idea of like talking about it with others helps reinforce it. So yeah, like the huge investment in myself that's going to help me long term. So the other thing I appreciated was I had never really heard of the idea of like just having like a defined period of time, like 3 months. So it's not like a long-term commitment. You don't have to commit to all year. Like, let's focus on 3 months. That's enough time to really make some significant progress. And if we want to continue working together and have some different goals after that, great. But if not, let's focus on an amazing 3 months and really like up my capacity as a leader and as a business owner. Great. So I appreciated that aspect of it as well, as knowing there's a defined period of time that we're going to focus on. And so that was like, okay, that's doable. I can do that. I can make the investment of the time and the money and do that. And I think it's going to be transformational, and it has. But so it's been really helpful to like think of it in that capacity.
Amazing, man. Well, thanks so much for sharing all this and going deep with me. And yeah, it's great to hear and to see the side of it. It's such a fun time just be able to chat and share this. Hopefully other people get value out of it. I definitely have gotten value out of it. It's been fun. Is there any other like closing comments or anything? Like, I mean, this video is probably going to go maybe on my LinkedIn, maybe on my website at some point, but probably I imagine the people watching it are probably going to be people who are interested in maybe getting a coach. They're thinking about maybe getting a coach. Anything that you would say to those people, just like about either me or coaching in general, or just kind of any last sort of closing remarks?
Yeah. Good question again. I think if people are thinking about it, they're probably on a journey just like I was. And so my recommendation would be find somebody you think you can really connect with, whether it's you or another coach, and make the commitment and do it. Because it really will make a significant difference in your business, but also just in your life in general. So we can kind of all go along and grow like at just kind of a normal capacity maybe. But then when we can specifically partner with somebody else as a coach, and they can bring in a lot of their learnings, like it can just make the growth go so much quicker by bringing in other input. And so I've got I'm blessed with tons of great friends and even other business owners and people like this. And so they share some things with me. And so there's almost like some aspect of coaching involved in that, but like specifically setting aside an hour a week to meet with you. And again, like what I've appreciated also is, and a difference of like you versus just my friends or whatever, is like that we have this shared, the Google spreadsheet that we work on. And so you listen to me like as we talk, and I'm talking about like my priorities for the next week or where I'm wanting help. And so you'll type stuff in there to help me get started, and then say, okay, like, can you schedule time to do that? Or what's your plan? Like what are the, like, so what's the one next step you're going to take? So again, the accountability, but also like you're just really good at what you do. And I know you get a coach as well. So you're not just doing this and saying, oh, everybody should do it. You've gotten a coach. And so you're growing and you've seen the benefit. And now you're able to take those learnings and pass them on. And so I appreciate that. So got to lead by example. So I appreciate you doing that. So I would just say people have got to jump in and do it.
Amazing, man. Well, you've been definitely an example of what success can look like with a coach. Yeah, man, you're killing it. So thanks so much for doing this video, man.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna probably put this up unedited. I think it's a fun jam, and
Cool.
yeah, man, I've definitely had fun. So I'm just gonna pause here.